Hi, this is Ian Bryson, author of I Love You Like One, a letter to my daughter abducted by a cult. Today is July 21st, 2024, and I'm going to be making question and answer video number 3. Please like and subscribe to our channel so that we can get this message out to as many people as possible. My first wife and our daughter are still in an intergenerational cult that practices ritual abuse and mind control, and my intention and my goal with all of this is to get attention to this subject and get them free. Please write to me if you have any specific questions. I love you like one at gmail.com. I will write back to you, and if there's more people asking the same question, I will make a video. If you've never heard of ritual abuse and trauma-based mind control, there are many resources available on my website. And I also recommend that you look at Lisa Meister's channel, Only God Rescued Me, and the channel 50 Voices of Ritual Abuse on YouTube. The book is available in paperback and Kindle, and there's also a PDF option available on the website where if you send me $1, I can send you the PDF. This is so as many people as possible are able to read the book. In these videos, there is some overlap because there is so much information in the book, and it is so complex and intricately woven that it is difficult to separate out what is going on without overlapping. The book is an evidence-based documentary, and I recommend that you take a look at the book. It's broken into 93 chapters so that you can read it slowly, and it's done in a way that is digestible and systematic so that you're not jumping into subjects that are overly difficult. I'm gradually bringing you into these difficult topics. So the part 1 question and answer was, why am I fighting for my first wife? Also, it covered where is she being abused and who is abusing her. Part 2 question and answer was, what were the signs that my daughter had been abused after her returns from Poland? In part 3, I'm going to go over what were the signs in my first wife that she had been abused. I want to remind you that I am fighting for my first wife and that I am not speaking badly about her. She told me in many different ways that she wanted to get her daughter, our daughter, out of this cult, and that she wanted me to write this book, and she said, do it for her, meaning for our daughter. She wants to be rescued. In the last 3 weeks that we were together, she told me that her family is a cult, that she was returning to Poland because of mind control, that she has something like Stockholm Syndrome, and that her dad created a red herring so that no one would believe me. In the last 3 weeks that we were together, one of the only things that she asked me to do was download Drake's album, Thank Me Later, and she proceeded to listen to the songs Shut It Down and Miss Me hundreds of times in the kitchen while she was shaking and smoking her cigarettes. When I asked her why she was listening to these songs, I said, shut what down? What is it that you want shut down? And she just stared at me blankly. When I asked her about the song Miss Me, I said, we've been apart for 3 months. I miss you terribly. Don't you miss me? What are you talking about? And I had no idea what she was talking about until she took off 3 weeks later, and I never saw our daughter again, and I never got to speak to her again, except in court. The day that she left to go back to Poland to the cult, she posted 2 last songs to her Facebook account before I was blocked. These songs were Free Fallin' by Tom Petty and If Tomorrow Never Comes by Lyfe Jennings. If Tomorrow Never Comes shows a man tied in a chair, being tortured, held captive, and Lyfe Jennings is singing about if tomorrow never comes and I never see you again, I apologize, I don't want your last memories of me to be filled with negativity. She chose the last 2 movies that we watched together on December 25th and December 26th, 2010, after we put our daughter to sleep. She had me download these movies. She said that she wanted to watch these with me. I was just happy to sit on the couch with her. She left to go back to the cult on December 27th. Unthinkable with Samuel L. Jackson and Remember Me were the 2 movies. In Unthinkable, a man is being tortured to comply. And Remember Me is a love story about 2 people who are separated by a tragic event right as they start to put things together. Often people who are horribly abused are unable to speak about it. They they either cannot form the words or the memories, or have been programmed to suffer if they do start to disclose. In my first wife's quote journal, she wrote down the quote, "I quote others to better express myself." And she left this on our computer when she left. After she told me Colt, mind control, Stockholm syndrome, red herring, she was bedridden for the next 3 weeks with migraines. And not once did she get out of bed to do anything with my daughter and I. She never left the house with my daughter and I. She refused, and she was just completely unable to. I chipped ice out of the freezer and put it in a washcloth so she could hold it on her head, and I begged her to get help. But she just stayed in bed, saying that she had a migraine and that she could not get out of bed. Her migraines over the course of our relationship were frequent and debilitating. In addition, there were no explanation for these migraines. She told me that she had seen doctors and that they told her that they could not figure out what was wrong with her. In the first weeks of our relationship, I documented in my journal that I feared that my first wife was the victim of childhood trauma. I thought that it looked like incest, and I thought that it looked like borderline personality disorder. She told me that there was something wrong with her over and over again, and just a vague, "I know there's something wrong with me. I know there's something wrong with me." And I would try to reassure her that there was nothing wrong with her and that I loved her, but she would just repeat, "I know there's something wrong with me." She had no memories of childhood, especially of her father. The only memory that she repeated to me was that the nicest thing that he ever did for her was to bring her 1 cup of tea. She did tell me a story about her father cheating on her mother when she was a little girl, and that he took her for a walk and told her all about this, and then she had to approach and confront the woman who he had been cheating on her mother with, and that this caused great devastation in their home. And she told me that, "I think this is why my mother is not happy. I think my dad is the reason my mother is not happy." But she wasn't sure and she couldn't elaborate on it. Her father was a raging alcoholic, but it wasn't anything that we were allowed to talk about. There was one time where I bought a bottle of Jim Beam for us, left it, went to work. When I came back, it was empty. She begged me not to say anything to him. When we were in Poland, I wasn't allowed to talk to him about his drinking. We weren't allowed to mention it. The only other memory of her childhood that she disclosed to me was she would say, "I remember I haven't been married before." I always thought that she was lying to me about these things and many other things. And I would confront her and tell her, "I can't handle the lying. I can handle any truth that you have, and I will never leave you no matter what that truth is. But I can't handle lying. Please tell me the truth. The nicest thing your dad ever did for you could not have been to bring you 1 cup of tea. That doesn't make any sense." But she would just repeat those things over and over again. Our psychologist asked me if she lied. And I told him that she does lie pathologically, but I don't know that she knows she's lying, because it appears that she believes she's telling the truth. And no matter how much I tell her that she is lying and that it can't be true, she reassures me over and over again that that is the truth, and she seems very certain of it. I caught her on multiple occasions with a knife across her wrist in the kitchen, huddled in the corner, just sitting there with a knife on her wrist, threatening to cut herself. She never did, and I always just took the knife from her and gave her a hug. For the course of our relationship, she had extreme personality shifts. One day she would say, "I love you." The next day it was, "I hate you." And she believed both of those things from what it appeared to me. She often had what looked like to me to be catatonic or trance-like states, to where I couldn't tell if she was there. And I would often do little gentle knocks on her head and say, "Is anyone home?" And, I kind of tried to joke about it, but it wasn't a joke because I couldn't tell if she was there or not. During our engagement when we were in Poland, she told me that her dad said that he likes young boobies. And then her grandfather asked me if she was good in bed. She had severe weight shifts. She would be normal healthy, and then she would go to Poland and she would come back as if she was anorexic. And she had no ability to explain what was going on. She just would lose weight upon returning from Poland. She would be 20, 30 pounds lighter. And the only thing that she could tell me was that she thought she was happier when she was heavier. Eventually, I got her to admit that she does have a problem, and the problem that she agreed that it looked like was borderline personality disorder. I emailed the psychologist and told him that we both decided that it looked like borderline personality disorder, but I told him, please don't tell her I said anything. This is just for your information so that we can hopefully figure this out. But if you tell her, I'm afraid what she'll do. She eventually started seeing a therapist on her own, telling the therapist that my husband thinks I go crazy sometimes. But she was unable to fill out her personality questionnaires by herself because she really was unsure about her personality and her tendencies, and I had to help her and guide her. So after seeing a therapist for a while and after being away from Poland for a while, she promised me that that would never happen again, that she would never go from my I love you to I hate you, that we would never have to go through that again. So then we decided we were going to move back to the United States. We filled out her visa paperwork. And because she couldn't return to the United States, I sent her and our daughter back to Poland. And I went back to the United States to look for work and a place for us to live. Her fear of abandonment came out again at this point. And I'd seen it before, but now it was stronger than ever. And she begged me not to leave, pleading with me, telling me that she was afraid we would never get back what we had again. She asked me to contact my cousin in the FBI and see if he could expedite her visa. I just told her that she was being irrational and that we had to go through this in order to move out of the Netherlands back to the United States, that I loved her and that we would be fine. While we were apart for those 3 months, she was sick multiple times. She went to the hospital for anemia, she had migraines, and in many of the emails that she sent me, she was sick with something or another. The moment that we returned back to our home in The Hague, I knew that something was wrong. And the moment I tried to kiss her, within a couple minutes of returning home, again she told me, I hate you, I've always hated you. And that's when she told me she was taking our daughter back to the cult because of mind control. She told me that she didn't mean what she had written in the emails or said on the phone over those past 3 months that we were apart, and that she wrote those things on purpose. She told me that she never intended to move back to the United States as a family, that her plan had been to take our daughter back to Poland. I wasn't sure that it was my wife, and I began looking for marks on her body to see if it was her. Over the next 3 weeks, she told me that she might have cancer. She said, they say I might have cancer. And I said, who says? She said, they say I might die before I'm 30. And again, I said, who says? She said, they say that I might have a heart attack. And I said, who says? I'm your husband. I'm terrified. Can we please go get help? Can we please go to a doctor? I need you. Our daughter needs you. And whatever they're saying and whoever they are is not okay with me. Can we please get help? I've already mentioned about the uncontrollable explosive diarrhea and sweats that I was experiencing. I believe that this was because of the spiritual presence that was in our home after her return from Poland. She appeared to be possessed to me. I pulled up a video of Henry Rollins singing Liar, and I called her over to the computer and I said, look at this. This is what I see when I look at you. And I prayed over her for the first time in my adult life because I believed that she looked like she was possessed to me. I asked her, I said, who raped you? You look like you've been raped. I started researching rape trauma syndrome and post-traumatic stress disorder. I told her that I was writing a book about her, and she told me good. I told her I wouldn't use her name because the story was too crazy and too personal, and she told me, I want you to use my name. And then she drilled into me over and over again, do it for her, meaning for our daughter. And I told her that I was doing it for our daughter and for her, that I would not separate the two. And then she told me that she was taking our daughter to the library. She had our daughter give me a big hug, and she followed our daughter down the stairs. I never saw our daughter again. And nobody believed me, as she had warned me, because ritual abuse and mind control are still unthinkable to society at large, and because of the red herring that her dad had created. This is not a comprehensive list of signs and symptoms that my wife had been abused. There's more in the book, and I encourage you to go there. Video number 4 will be out shortly. Thank you for listening. God bless you and yours.